Hello. So today we're going to go over 4 stretches to boost flexibility in your legs. So with the muscles in your legs, do you ever feel like you have tension in those muscles across your legs and hips? Maybe it's in weightlifting or in sports, or maybe even just moving around the house. I know for me, I feel that the muscles in my hips and legs get tight when I'm going to sleep at night, and so sometimes that can actually wake me up. And like last night, I actually woke up in the middle of the night because my legs were cramping. So I find these are 4 stretches I do at night to help with that. Last night I rushed through them and didn't really give myself time to focus in on that flexibility. But I would recommend doing these 4 stretches. I had to wake up in the middle of the night and do one of these stretches, and that's what helped me get back to sleep. So we're going to be focusing on flexibility. I like flexibility training because I find I can do it more than resistance training or weightlifting. You get a little bit of flexibility from doing that, or you can if you lift full range of motion, which is full movements. But I find that I can train more often in flexibility than just what I can do with weightlifting and resistance training. So adding that into my day helps me feel better, especially in my legs. So if that sounds like something you want to incorporate into your day, here are 4 stretches you can do. And I would recommend holding these for 20 to 30 seconds and going through each one every day. So the first one we're going to do is for the muscles in the front of the hips, right in here. So these are called the hip flexors. They run from the top of the hip down into the front of the leg, and then one actually goes all the way down into the knee. But primarily, you should feel it right in here in the front of your hip. So what we're going to do is put 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. We're stretching this back leg. And from here, you're going to bend your knee, pushing your hips forward, trying to keep your back straight. Hey, Screw Owen Top. Hey man, how's it going? Keep grinding. I will keep doing that. So today we're working on flexibility of the legs, working those hip flexors. So pushing your hips forward, holding that for 20 seconds. This is actually a muscle that cramps up for me a lot right in here. And so I find stretching it actually helps open up my hips, relieves a lot of that tension. Alien says my birthday is on July 2nd. Almost then, that's great. And then same thing on the other side. So 1 foot back, 1 foot forward, bending your knee, feeling a stretch in the front of your hip. Anoith, says my birthday is August 5th. A lot of birthdays coming up, I guess. Next couple months. Again, this is from the muscles right in the front of your hip. One actually goes all the way down to the front of your knee. Usually people feel this stretch more up here though. You might feel it down lower in your thigh as well if your rectus femoris is more tight. So the next one I do is actually for the muscles in the back of the thigh. These are called the hamstrings. A lot of people are familiar with this one and feel like they have tight hamstrings. So what I do for this one usually, it's in a similar position, but now we're stretching the front leg. So you're going to straighten your knee, and then from here, bring your chest forward, feeling a stretch in the back of your thigh. So you're not bending down towards your toe. You're just bringing your chest forward, out, trying to go over the top of your foot. So you feel that stretch in the back of your leg, right back in here. You can even use your hands to reach out towards the front till you feel that stretch, and hold that for 20 to 30 seconds. I like to do these every night before bed. Sometimes I rush it, and that's when I usually feel like it's harder to fall asleep, I'm not as relaxed, and I carry more tension, especially in my legs and hips. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat or the comments. I'll get to them as quickly as I can. And same thing on the other side. Front leg straight. So I started doing hamstring stretching more because I kept on having strains in my hamstrings. So I included this more day to day, and it was easier for me to keep working my hamstrings without injuring them. So adding that in, just working them out, I found was not enough to improve their flexibility fast enough, where I was falling behind on that. All right, so we just worked the front of the hips, back of the hips. Now we're going to go down to the muscles in the front of the thigh. So these are the quad muscles. There's 4 of them that run across the front of your thigh. For this, I use a chair. There we go. So what I do is I put one foot up on the chair and then drop down to the front so you feel a stretch on the front of your thigh, holding for 20 to 30 seconds. So these work both at the hip and at the knee. So they are stretched by both for moving your hips forward and bringing your foot up. So if you ever need to make it a little less intense, you can drop your foot down, it'll make it less intense, or bringing the foot a little higher, like pulling it up with your hand, can make that more intense. Just go to where you feel a stretch in the muscle right in the front of your thigh. Shouldn't feel so much as in the front of your hip. Should feel more down by the knee. All right, and last stretch is on the ground. So this is for these muscles in the side of your hip. They run across and down into the, they attach it up at your hip and then go down into your thigh. So what you're gonna do is lay on your back, bring your knee up and over and across your body, feeling a stretch on the outside of your hip. Holding for 20 seconds. So this is a great stretch to do if you have any sort of, if you have low back or sciatic pain. It can, as long as it's not increasing that pain, it can actually stretch out the muscles, loosen up the hips a little bit, and take some of the pressure off of that. Now, if it hurts more or you feel tingling going down your leg, don't do this stretch. But I find this is a really good preventative stretch for helping with that false sciatic, because there's a muscle that runs right over the sciatic nerve in the side of your hip here. I found for me, I would have some tingling, and then as I did this stretch, when it wasn't hurting, it would actually help that go away. So this muscle was getting tight in the side here, especially in on the left. One second, I can see you guys had a comment. I'll be right up there in a second. So this is stretching the glute med. It's also stretching a little bit of the IT band and some of the other small muscles in the hip. So I find it's a great relaxing stretch to improve flexibility that gets missed a lot of times. And relax. Kazim says, I love you, you help a lot of people. Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. Glad it helps. That's why we were doing this, to try and help out. Thanks to the boss, I appreciate that. All right, so those are 4 stretches I would recommend. Like I said, I do them every day, or try to get them in every day. So stretching those hip flexors, the hamstrings, the quads, and then the side of the hip. So we have one more stretch that I would recommend. I don't do this one every day. I probably should do it more often though. It's for these muscles on the inside of the hip in here. These are called the adductors of the hip. So what you're going to do is you're going to bend this knee down to the side so you feel a stretch on the inner part of your thigh here. You can reach down towards the ground to increase the stretch, but try and keep your back straight, opening up that hip. You can even put your hands on the hip or knee to help stabilize and hold that stretch on the inner part of your thigh. So this is a great stretch to do if you're trying to do the splits. But you can't quite get down low yet. Okay, one moment. And same thing on the other side. So if you can't get all the way down, that's okay. Just go to where you feel that tension in the inner part of your thigh. These I found were really common for me to pull, either these adductors or the hamstrings, were the muscles I pulled the most often while working out. So I find this stretch helps increase their flexibility, increase their resiliency against that. Squats are really good for doing, especially sumo squats are good for strengthening these and increasing the range of motion. But I found that doing just sumo squats was not giving me enough flexibility, so I started incorporating these more often into my flexibility. I definitely need to do these more often though, because these can get tight. So those are some stretches for the hips and legs. I need to get going, but if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll get to them as soon as I can. Thanks for being here. Hope to see you guys next time.